I'm Leon and welcome to another edition of Real Fishing Reviews, where I give you the lowdown, the good, the bad, on the most popular products out there and some of the products that I use in my own fishing. Today we're going to be looking at the GT HD by Gardner tackle, and also I'm going to show you a little trick of how to get any line onto your spool with minimum amount of fuss and no twist. So let's get cracking. Okay, GT HD by Gardner tackle. This is a low stretch copolymer line, comes in 12, 15 and 18 pound on spools. 4 ounce, I think they're 4 ounce spools. The 12 pound is 0.33, the 15 pound is 0.35 and the 18 pound is 0.40. It's a nice low vis green colour, disappears in the water nicely, and has got minimal stretch. Now what does that mean to you? Well, if you take like a fluorocarbon, which has got hardly any stretch, and a normal copolymer line which can have quite a lot of stretch, this is in between. So that will help you by when you cast out, you'll get a lot better feel at range or in close with the GT HD. I've spooled it up on one of my reels just to give it a go, just to you know, to actually use it, so this review will be valid. You know, I'm actually using it on one rod. Spooled it up a couple of days ago before my first session using it, and it actually went on to the reel really nicely, bedded in nicely right up to the lip. So I'm going to show you a little trick of how I get it to do that anyway, without any twists on that. It wasn't no twist or anything like that, but I'll show you that in a minute. I got here yesterday. The first thing I want to do is cast out the rod with the GT HD. I'm using a 15 pound. I'm fishing about 100 yards out here, so it's you know, it's a reasonable distance, and you're always a little bit apprehensive with a new line of casting out and that. So I bedded it in, give it a whack, fishing about 100 yards out, and I was surprised how smooth it went through the rings. So it's quite a smooth satin finish on this line, and it does what it says on the tin due to casting. Now it's going to take a while, you know, a good few months for me to really get to grips whether it keeps on like that. It's just a new line, you know, it's got a finish on there, so it's gonna cast reasonably well anyway. So I had a couple of casts with that. It sunk reasonably well till about 40 yards out, when I had to dip the tip to make it sink. But then again, it's a new line on the reel, and it's going to take a little while for the water to actually get into the copolymer line to make it sink. So it'd be interesting to see over the next few months how it sinks, how it keeps on casting, if it keeps on casting the way it is. Also done a couple of strength tests on the line. What I tend to do is I tie a couple of knots in it and I pull it as hard as I can, and it didn't budge at all, and you could feel there really is no stretch in it, not compared to a normal line that I use. So it'd be interesting to see how this performs over a few months, but initial impressions are it's a real nice line. Feeling it out there 100 yards, felt a nice donk. So where it's got that less stretch than a normal line, you can feel a lot better. I mean, I've got a 5 ounce lead on, I'm banging it out there, I'm fishing about 6-7 foot deep, and I feel the donk, boom, at 100 yards. And it was noticeable to my other two rods, where I've got just normal copolymer line on with normal stretch. So I could feel it a lot firmer. You know, it might be the spot I'm fishing, but you know, it did feel like there was hardly any stretch in there, and nice feeling it down. So initial impressions are the GT HD, low stretch, casts really nicely. All I need to do now is catch a fish to see how it performs actually while playing a fish. Whether that stretch comes into it, and I just have to let the rod do a bit more work. But so that's the sort of initial impressions. It's good, you know, it's worth checking out anyway. It's going to cost you about 20 quid. I think you might get a pound or £2 cheaper, and it goes from I think 830 yards in the 18 pound to 1200 yards I think in the 12 pound. So you can fill 3 spools up. So right, onto how I load up my line. This is what I do with all line onto my reels to get it embedded in. Now get yourself one of these about this big Tupperware, which you put like cornflakes, Rice Krispies in with a lid. Now take the lid off, get this Tupperware dish, it's only about that thin, and fill it up about 3/4 of the way with warm water, not boiling hot, just warm water. Put your spool, whatever line it is, doesn't have to be GTHD by Gardner, put it in there like that, so it's facing, so the line's coming off that way, so the line's coming off that way in the tub of warm water. Now a lot of people, and a lot of companies tell you to wind it on with the spool facing up. I mean, sometimes they put the spool, the label on the wrong way, so you turn it round and it's up that way, but I always do it that way, you know, so it's sitting in there like that. Now the reason for that is, as I sort of aware in the fishing tackle trade, is that they don't spool it on like that. It gets spooled on like that. So why would you spool it on, creating twist? Now that way, it's not creating a twist, it's coming off the way it was put on. So with the warm water, that will supple it up as well. Use a good knot, and the actual friction it causes from you bringing it off like that, you don't need to put a bit of foam or hold your hand on while you're reeling in, because that will cause, that will enable the tightness, so it go onto your reel really nice. And it has. I mean, I've got them on my reels here, and it's gone on like a dream onto there. So try that out, give it a go, because the line goes on to your reel a lot better if you're winding on from that top, from a vertical position rather than a horizontal position coming off, because you're just twisting it up. That's my take on it anyway. So there you go, there's a little review and a nice little tip, initial review, and a nice little tip on the GT HD by Gardner. I'm using a £15, available 12, 15 and 18 as I've said. If you're looking for a nice line that's supple, casts really, really well, and you can feel the lead down a lot better, go check it out. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for lots more reviews, my weekly vlogs, tips and tricks and edges, and I'll see you around for the next review.